really grateful to work for these two shoes. These two models particularly is my best work.
Yeah, super cool to be able to make all the shoes better compared to last time to this time. Just having your engineering expertise and materials and everything else has just been world of difference.
I think you're a heck of a good team.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jay. Would it be possible to chat a little bit about the shape of the last and how downturn and aggressive it is? And talk about, I know they're on this, it's the same last to stay, but why we were able to use the same last for such a different shoe.
Some people not really get used to the extremely downturn shoes. So this is like a middle ground. You can, have a little advantage of shoes without much transition period, I guess.
Yeah, so it's a way to like bridge you into a more aggressive shoe.
Yeah, some kind of bridge. Yeah.
Like intermediate, basically.
Yeah, especially the street. It's a two Velcro shoes, so you can still have a more adjustability of that forefoot side. And as you see, because of the design aspect of the heel land, it doesn't have a much of heel tension to bring your heel down to it.
So it's not crazy tension like some really high-end shoes.
Yeah, so it gives you a little more comfort.
Yeah, and we're seeing more and more, Jay, that the really high-end aggressive shoes, they're all doing less tension these days on the heel as well.
Yeah, that's the thing over the past.
Why is that?
Because, back in the days, the shoes pattern is not articulate with human foot. So in order to bring your power to the toe, only one way is bring the heel extremely down.
Yeah, okay.
So when I start climbing in trekking shoes, when I have like a really critical slab of face climbing, what we do, we just tap the toe to the rock, and the climbing shoes heel land, slingshot heel land, that's what we constantly bring the heel to the toe. So you give your power, but also it's constantly constrain your foot. So
that's why the toe would have power, but a lot of times the heel wouldn't fit. It's because the shape of the last is wrong. It was never updated. But now with an updated last, you can get the power in the toe and also a heel that fits really well without having it look crazy aggressive and actually climbs better. I'm happy with it. I like how it looks really aggressive, like it looks super downturn. Can you talk about the fit and the arch? Because it fits my foot really well. So it's comfortable, but still downturn. How did you accomplish that?
The street, that shoe is really iconic. And it's kind of really hard to build it. I was surprised, when I see the pictures of your shoes first. How they do that? You split the colors like that, middle of the section that normally is pulled down to the arch area. So we have reduced a lot of layers, overlaps. So that's why the arch area is not much rubber goes up. So maintain the arch curve, and then we still grow out that iconic image of the two split color shoes.
Of the split color, and we incorporated the D-ring also into the upper.
Yeah, modernized that instead of the nylon webbings.
Yeah. Can you talk about the upper material, how the upper materials is different than our original street also?
I believe the original street has a lining of nylon. So we used the one layer 1.8 millimeters synthetic, super strong and soft synthetic material. So we don't have to laminating two layers of fabric. So that gives you a more flexible and flush feel and light feel.
It's a Korean fabric.
Yes. That's kind of high-end fabric.
Jay, can you talk about the multiple piece uppers and how that is different than all of our previous climbing shoes so that it fits the last better, how you did that design?
Yeah, with the last is not straight foot shape like old days. It has a lot of curvatures and round and narrow arches. So in order to do that, you have to cut a lot of sewing seams in here and there in order to make a round shape to fit on the last you are.
So lots of pattern pieces compared to before.
Yes.
Jay, can you talk about the plastic injection midsole that you used for the stiffness, and in particular why it is less thick around the perimeter of it?
That used to be inside like a composite plastic and paper compound. We just cut it out and then just put it together. But this is the injection mold, means that the mold itself shaped as a last. So it doesn't really have all the curvatures. Yeah, so it's just totally integrate with the last and upwards. And we just have a thinner edges because we don't want to have bulky on the edges because you can feel it right. And then it is a little thicker because you want to support, because that shoes mean you want to cover rod. It's compared to stay, we only have horseshoe shape on the around the edges.
The fish hook, yeah.
Yeah, that's the stay has more flexible, but this one has more support.
Jay, can you talk a little bit about the front rand in particular and how that mold actually comes out flat, and how we worked for about a year calling out the thickness of those different pieces? It's a varying thickness mold. Can you talk about that?
So 3D mold is the one advantage of we can actually custom design the thickness. And back in old days, we all use flat sheet rubber cutout and just grind up the edges and just slap together. But this one has been thickest part is almost 2.5 millimeters on the front with this high wear joint. So that's the one, most people drag your toes and they squeeze one out. So they have a thicker part on that part. As you go back, we don't need that much thickness. We kind of slim down all the way to almost 0.2 millimeters, which is really flexible. One drawback of a synthetic material, they don't breathe compared to a natural leather. So it's been a big problematic because of the smells and overall, and then hotness because it doesn't really breathe. So we try to minimize that thing with the different layers and stuff. But when you add a layer, there'll be another layer of glue, which is block the airways. So we just make a simple perpetual holes and then some synthetic mesh foams inside, because the two strap, you need some support. Otherwise, it's going to dig in your foot. So,
and it runs all the way, the synthetic mesh, the comfort runs all the way under the lower closure. We did put a really small liner just along the opening of the shoe with the material.
Normally that area, when you have two linings laminated, so there will be a flare on the edge. So you have to cover up we call piping and stitch it. We don't have two linings, but we just want to reinforce that another material laminate through the edges. So it can be a little more sturdy.
Yeah, and that allows us visually to, it helps with stability, but it allowed us visually to get rid of that piping. We try to strip everything down off of the shoe and get it as simple as possible. A lot of brands are like more, and we were like, let's do less.
And then also, even though that shoe looks so simple, only two colors, but we have 4 different kind of rubbers.
We put in the butyl rubber, a high percentage of it into the toe rand.
So it looks simple, but we put a lot of thoughts on that shoes.
Yeah, what most people don't understand is climbing shoe construction is so difficult compared to even regular footwear. And people also don't know that the rand rubbers are usually from other brands are usually generic rubbers. They're not actually sticky. They don't have the same formulation that they use on the outsoles for stickiness. So us pushing that to a higher percentage of sticky rubber for the molded rand is really was a big deal. It took a long time.
And I think actually this is the first time I ever worked with Vibram. What we have is just, I think, the best rubber I ever used. So basically the LB shoes has little less in smaller widths and smaller high volumes. And also the heel is a little lower than RB to low Achilles.
Okay. Yep. So you dropped it down here, and the width.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think that they think men's and women's for climbing shoes, but What we've learned is there's a lot of men with a low volume foot and there's a lot of women with a wider foot. So we went unisex for everything. Everything's like Vans. It's men's 8/women's 9.5. It's unisex. And that's why we try to keep the colors very similar and very cool between LV and regular so that everyone will like them.
I think you like the LV, and my son.
I wear LV.
My son like that.
Super cool, but everything else is the same. The materials, just the last shape is different. The materials, all the patterning, everything is. You're going to have the same performance in both shoes.
So even though they share same last stay, the big difference is that the Street doesn't have toe patches, but it has extra strap in your forefoot area. So it will give you a better fit in overall. So I think this is really good for sports climbing and gym climbing. So I'm climbing, 10s and 11s, and that's really good shoes for that area, which is, most popular chunk of population. The climbers enjoys 510s and 511s. That's the middle range. So we can cover a whole lot of demographic in their shoes. We can do sports climbing, little bouldering, even maybe trail shoes, multi-pitch.
And even like Jason Kell, of course, when he's projecting, he wears, more aggressive shoe,
right.
Something really specific, but he warms up in the street all the time. So he'll wear this on even longer boulder problems.
Exactly.
And stuff.
I think this is the shoes. When you have one shoes to want to do everything, I think Street is the shoes to go.
That's the one. We price the Street to be that intermediate shoe. So if you're a beginner wanting to move into a more downturn, you're not spending like $200.
Right.
It's a much better price.
Yeah. I think that's why our identity of a story brand, everything's clean, look, from the holes to accessories. We try to have like a brand identity as a simple high-end look.
Which was the hardest product to do it with was climbing shoes because there's so many different rubbers and pieces that come together.